What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here for another episode of Player Ratings as Spurs win 2-1 against Leeds at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday. And let's get straight into it. And let's start off with HUGO LLORIS. 7s all round from us. In terms of the goal, I mean, he couldn't do anything with that goal. Point blank range from Dan James. Apart from that, I thought he made some important saves throughout the game. I thought he was actually quite commanding from crosses as well. But you know, he didn't come under too much pressure yesterday, HUGO.
Yeah, probably his best moment was I thought was quite a solid save against Dan James, with a good outside of the boot poke towards the back post, which he had to tip wide. Other than that, Gerhardt had a attempt at the near post, which was easily dealt with. And the other efforts were pretty easy to deal with. So I think it was a good day for LLORIS. I think he played quite well. And I thought a couple of times, it's become a feature now, these long kicks from LLORIS to try and get an assist, isn't it? And nearly comes off.
Gazaniga-esque.
Yeah, it has nearly come off, but hasn't quite yet. But it's a matter of time before he gets an assist.
Only a matter of time, that's for sure. Let's move over to Japhet Tanganga. 6s all round from us, was given the nod at that right centre-back role. It was a toss-up between him and Davinson Sanchez, and I think that he defended well for the most part. And, you know, sometimes when Conte likes his one of his centre-backs to get forward, I felt like he didn't really get forward that much, Tanganga. But in terms of a defensive responsibility, I thought he did fairly well. I mean, the only down part was maybe his role in the goal that we conceded, but that's about it, really.
Yeah, I thought he was probably the weakest of the back three, to be fair. I definitely thought he could have got tight to Harrison on that right hand side when he got the ball in. Should have stopped the cross. And on the ball, I felt he was the most uncomfortable, unfortunately. I thought Dyer and Davis were actually pretty competent at getting the ball forward and playing it into feet, but Tanganga seemed to struggle in that aspect, so that was a bit of a worry. I also thought Sanchez performed quite well when he came on, and it kind of shone a bit of light on Tanganga's performance even more when Davinson came on. But look, wasn't terrible by any stretch, but wasn't unfortunately, it was probably the weakest of the three.
Yeah. And let's move on to Eric Dyer. 8s all round from us, and you're talking about Tanganga being the weakest of the three. Eric Dyer was most definitely the strongest of the three, playing in a sort of quarterback role. I mean, it was a bit Toby Alderweireld-esque, his performance yesterday. He was pinging the ball about like nobody's problems, defending really well. Nothing got past him pretty much the whole day, and I just felt really assured for the first time. Well, not the first time, but definitely one of the only times I've really felt really comfortable throughout the 90 minutes. No mishaps whatsoever, and a really strong commanding display, in my opinion, from Eric Dyer.
Yeah, and some lovely passing as well, going through him as well. And, you know, lovely little dink pass into Ben Davies, who nearly scored, and he was doing that a few times throughout the 90 minutes, Eric Dyer. Some really good passes into Harry Kane and Moore and Son as well, into feet. Wasn't afraid to pass it in field, and which was really good. He was kind of take it like he wasn't afraid of making a mistake, which is what you need to do if you're going to be a top player. Defensively, I thought he dominated the Leeds forward line. Clearances, he was making them all day long, and I thought it was a really commanding display from Eric Dyer.
Yeah, definitely bigger test to come from Eric Dyer, that's for sure, because, you know, he was coming up against a Leeds side which was so deflated going forward. You know, Rafinha out, Bamford out, Rodrigo out, so definitely a bigger test to come, that's for sure. Let's move on to the last of the centre-backs, Ben Davies. Sim gives him a 7, I gave him a 6. Probably on reflection, probably 7 is probably a fair remark, to be fair. But I thought he defended well. He was getting forward really well, providing that option up front. And, you know, he did kind of let Dan James to get in behind him for the goal, but I thought maybe it was more for Reguilon because he was occupied by another man.
Yeah, I don't think he could have done much with that, to be honest, for Ben Davies. But I thought, again, another really solid, assured display at the left centre-back role. His renaissance continues under Conte. I thought it was another game proving how perfect he is for the role that Conte is giving him. I think he's a lot more comfortable as well when he's asked to go forward, and he looks a bit more of a threat, and he's able to get in very dangerous positions and provide asking different questions of the defence. And I think as well when he's defending him, helping out Reguilon, I think he does a really great job coming out to the wing and defending from that sense. So I'm pretty happy with Ben Davies right now. I think he's playing pretty well.
Yeah, Completely agree. Let's move on to Emerson Royale. Sixes all round from us. I mean, he was just beaten way too easily for the goal from Harrison. He just drifted past him, didn't he? But apart from that, I thought he was okay. I mean, the times he was getting forward, he was getting in nice positions where one time Reguilon really should have found him where he didn't. But other times than that, he was really getting in good positions at the back post and wasn't really being found. But in terms of his defensive display, I mean, that was the only real letdown moment, wasn't it, when they scored their goal. They didn't really trouble us too much going forward, Leeds, to be fair, even in the first half when they had all that dominance. But I felt that Emerson, probably not one of his better performances. I mean, he has put in much better performances in the last couple of weeks, but we got to persist with him, don't we?
Yeah, no, I thought he was okay. I didn't think he was terrible. He got obviously beaten way too easily for the goal, but he did make a lot of tackles throughout the game. And I thought, by and large, he got forward a few times. He's always there, being that option as well. When Reguilon's forward, he's there at the back post. When he's forward, Reguilon's there at the back post. They're providing quite a good partnership at the moment. And I think he'll have better games, but I think it was another solid game from him.
Definitely. All right, let's move on to Sergio Reguilon. Sim gives him an 8. I give him a 7. I mean, he was non-stop running, a bit like Roadrunner, pretty much the whole game, up and down and up and down. Defensively, I think he pretty much everything called up in, apart from, like I said, everyone did good defensive work apart from the goal, where Dan James did creep in behind Sergio Reguilon, but it was hard for him to get there because Dan James did get the run on them quite early. Got the goal with really good anticipation to run in from the free kick, almost already running while the free kick was being taken. And he was just a thorn in the Leeds side for pretty much, especially that second half. Non-stop aggression, non-stop running, non-stop work rate. And these are the performances we like to see from Sergio.
Yeah, and if you see his average position, it's so high up on the pitch, like he's almost like a left winger, let alone left wing back, and it provides an extra outlet on the left-hand side. And not only does it do that, it obviously allows some of the attackers to tuck in as well, adds an extra option in the centre when he's whipping in crosses, and he whipped in a lot of them yesterday. I think about 6 crosses he whipped in, so really positive from Reguilon. Glad he's got his first goal on his 50th appearance for Tottenham as well, so good on him for that. Was involved in the first goal as well, swinging one of the crosses, which caused a bit of a trouble for the Leeds backline and led to HOJBJERG scoring. So I think at the end of the day, it goes down to a very good performance for Reguilon.
Yeah. Let's move on to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Sim gives him a 7. I gave him a 6. I mean, I was quite disappointed with his first half display. I thought his passing was really off, as it has been the last couple of games, to be fair. But I thought that he grew into the game, got us that equaliser with a bit of luck with the scuff finish, but got there in the end, got it in the back of the net. And I thought as the game wore on, he did grow into the game and provided that presence for us in the middle of the park, which we so desperately needed.
Yeah, and I think he was really crucial in the second half to dragging us back into it as well. And he said he didn't celebrate the goal because he was annoyed that Spurs hadn't scored yet before that moment. That just shows the mentality of him at the moment and the character that he is. And I think in the second half, him winning the ball back so quickly and efficiently many times in the centre of the park was a crucial reason why we were able to sustain the pressure on Leeds, keep them on the back foot, and ultimately getting the goal in the end.
Yep, let's move on to Harry Winks, given the nod ahead of Tanguy Ndombele. 6s all round from us. And I thought first half was pretty much the Winks performances which we've been accustomed to over the last couple of years. I thought the midfield was pretty much non-existent in that first half, and that was down to him and HOJBJERG not really putting that much about. But second half, he grew in influence. His passing became a lot better. He started to drive forward a bit more and definitely provided positively for the team. And in terms of Harry Winks, everyone likes to put him down, but I don't think you can put him down too much after that second half display yesterday.
Yeah, good game. And I thought he showed a bit of confidence, a bit of character about him in that second half. So many times you just see him playing within himself. We've said it before, when he goes sideways and backwards and has no confidence. But actually a few times he's taking people on, he's driving forward, he's
there was that
up passes.
Drive in the last 10 minutes, wasn't there, that he beat like 2 men and drew on.
Yeah, and that shows hopefully maybe a bit more confidence that Conte can instill in him. I'm still got a long way to go if he's going to reclaim first team spot long term, but I think it was a step in the right direction anyway in the second half yesterday.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Lucas Moura. 8s all round from us. A really energetic, really positive display from Lucas Moura. As everyone else grew into the game massively in the second half. Well, what was it for the first goal from the free kick? I mean, he was involved in every goal, wasn't he? He was involved in every goal. He was involved in pretty much everything positive going forward for Tottenham. He was taking it past men, but it's the same thing pretty much every time. What lets him down is the passing at the end of his runs. But albeit he did get an assist for HOJBJERG's goal, so credit to him.
I would say usually it lets him down, but yesterday actually his passing was pretty good. He played a pretty good through ball to Kane, who when he hit the post, he played a really nice lofted ball to Son when he hit the crossbar.
Yeah, that's true, to be fair.
He obviously got the assist for HOJBJERG with a really nice pass, and then so those are all positive things. And then he won the free kick, which obviously led to the second goal. So usually it's true, his final product lets him down, but yesterday actually had a bit of quality at the end of his running. So really positive in that perspective. Yeah, in the first half, like most players, I thought it was pretty frustrating, and he was losing the ball way too often. But second half he stepped it up and provided. Some would argue provided the difference.
Yeah, he most definitely did. And in my opinion, probably it was a toss-up between him and Eric Dyer for man of the match yesterday, and probably he just about sneaks it. Let's go on to Heung-min Son. 6s all round from us. I mean, he hit the post or the bar. I can't remember which one, but he was providing some good runs, but still, with Heung-min Son, I want to see him get involved in the game a lot more than he did yesterday. I thought out of the strikers between Moura, Kane and Son, he was probably the poorest out of the three. But that doesn't mean he had a bad game, but I just thought he should have got involved a lot more than he did.
Yeah, there was one really good run in the first half where he went through most of the Leeds half, and he's inside the box, picks out Kane just behind him, and couldn't engineer a shot. That was probably his best moment, Sonny, unfortunately. Wasn't really when he's asked to have a bit of guile and be a bit nimble in the central areas. He seems to be crowded out quite a bit. Wasn't able to get too many shots off, which we know when he does that, Sonny, he's deadly. So there has to be a bit of a rethink probably how best to use him, because against Everton as well, he also did seem to get a bit lost in that game. So I do feel like Kane and Lucas coped better with how Leeds were approaching the game man on man and not giving any time or space. So he's got to look at that, Conte, as to how to best get Son in those positions. But I'm sure it will come, because there are a few nice moments. So I'm sure it will come for him.
Yeah, he definitely should have found the score sheet, a goal yesterday, that's for sure. Which moves us on to Harry Kane, the last of the starting 11. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. Much better from Harry Kane. You've got to say that. Definitely a step in the right direction. Maybe you could argue that it's one of his best displays of the season, if not the best display of the season. The way you could just see the energy from him straight from the beginning. Even in the first half, when the whole team weren't really performing, I thought Harry Kane was pretty much our stand-up performer from that first half. The balls were coming from him back from the defence. He was holding up the ball well. He was being aggressive and winning it back in the middle of the park. Good defensive display from him as well. He was dropping deep a lot and providing some really good passes from the middle of the park. The only thing it was really missing was an assist or a goal yesterday from Harry Kane.
Yeah, I felt like he was had a very tough job up against Calvin Phillips throughout most of the game. Every time he passed the ball, they passed the ball to him, Phillips is kind of shoving him in the back every single time, trying to get him off balance, trying to get him to take a dodgy touch or lose the ball. But 9 times out of 10, Kane would come away with it, and Kane would be able to lay the ball off or turn or spray a pass or set Tottenham on the attack. And I thought he was pretty good throughout the whole game, actually, at holding off the Leeds defenders and making the ball stick for Tottenham, which we've had trouble with in the past, especially this season. And we've seen with Lukaku how he turned into this hold-up kind of beast. Like any ball that came into Lukaku, he was able to hold off any defender that came into him. And I think we're starting to see Kane learn from that and become more of a physical striker who's more combative with the defenders and more willing to hold them off and turn it into a bit of a battle, as opposed to one maybe just dropping deep to get away from them all the time. And that's what we saw yesterday, and I thought he did a really good job. And I think the more he gets used to the role, the more he's going to be able to put himself in positions to start scoring goals again.
Definitely. Let's move over to the substitutes bench. Davinson Sanchez, we're giving him a 7, came on for Japhet Tanganga, and I thought it was, as soon as he came on, you saw the difference in quality, to be honest. I thought ever since Davinson Sanchez, or ever since Conte's joined Tottenham, I think we've seen a different side of Sanchez, albeit he hasn't played that much, but every time he's come on, he's looked bang at it, really aggressive, commanding in the air, and that's exactly what we saw yesterday. I thought the amount of headers he won to relieve the pressure of the defence was brilliant, and I just thought he had an air of confidence about him. Again,
I felt like, him coming on, it was like just shut everything down for Leeds. They had no encouragement whatsoever coming from his side. He was just doing sliding tackles. He was quick. He was on them like a rash. As you say, aerially dominant, and I think he was sending a bit of message like, you shouldn't have left me out of this team, Gaffer. And I feel it was one of those performances coming off the bench where he really showed how the difference at the moment in quality right now between him and Tanganga is a bit is quite big, I think, at the moment. I'm not saying overall, I'm just saying where the two are in their careers. I think Sanchez is clearly ahead, and I think it showed on the pitch.
Yeah, and I think that we really should start seeing Sanchez play starting from in the Premier League now. I think at the Burnley game, I think the back three will be Sanchez, Dyer and Davis, which if you would have asked me a year ago if I wanted to see that back three, I would have been like, definitely not.
And now you're begging for it.
Yeah. I wouldn't say begging for it, but I think that's the back three I want to see while Romero's out. Last of the substitutes, Ryan Sessegnon finally made an appearance. 6s all round, back in the side. And he didn't do himself any disservice. I thought he played all right when he came on. He didn't have that much time, but the time he came on, he saw quite a bit of the ball on that left-hand side, made a couple of runs, but, not that much quality about it.
Yeah, I thought he was okay. I thought there was a couple of moments where he really could have taken on his fullback and decided to check back inside and pass it backwards. But other than that, I did think there's a few times where he was on the counter-attack and he was showing his pace and his ability. And I thought there was one moment, obviously, he flashed across right across the face of goal with no one really near it, which was a shame. But I think it was a nice little cameo from Cess, and hopefully Conte can really drive him on, because he could be the perfect manager for him.
Yeah. Let's move on to Antonio Conte. 7s all round from us. I mean, the sheer passion this guy shows on the sidelines is more than anyone has ever seen before. This guy, he is literally outside his technical area for the whole game, screaming, barking out instructions to his whole team, geeing up the fans as well to get the atmosphere going when it was a bit quiet in the stadium. I mean, the passion this guy shows is absolutely second to none. The way we set up at the beginning of the game, I mean, didn't really do us too many favours. I thought in the first half we just really weren't in the game, and it was a poor showing in that first half. But he did see that, and he changed things. He tactically tweaked things. He laid into them at half time, I imagine, and we came out a completely different team in the second half. And that's all credit to Antonio Conte and getting his players up for it. So we ultimately won the game because of it. So 7 for me.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with most of what you just said. I think he did obviously change things at half-time, which ended up giving us the 3 points. And I think the players are clearly responding to how he wants to do things. They're responding to his methods. You could see at the end of the game how passionate he is, and going up to every single player, giving them a high five or a hug, and during the game, how infectious his energy and his passion is on the touchline is really, really brilliant to see. And obviously he'll rethink how things started, and he'll think why did we start so poorly in the first half, and give Leeds so much encouragement. But you got to say he figured it out. He found a solution to the problem. He was able to pen Leeds back and gain control in that second half, and that's what ended up getting us the 3 points again. And it'll be interesting to see going forward tactically if there's going to be any switch ups or anything else. But I think at the moment he's doing a pretty decent job.
But you can clearly see he's having impact on these players. When you look at the performances of Reguilon, you look at the performances of Davis, you look at the performances of Dyer, even Davinson Sanchez when he's coming on. These players are outperforming themselves as they were, as we've seen before. So you can see he's having clear impact on these players, and so soon, so quick after coming into the role as well. So that is absolute music to our ears, and I'm excited to see how this progresses. So that is our player ratings. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any thoughts regarding any of our ratings today. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.